Hello everyone, and welcome back to World of Warships Blitz with Terry. This is the Neptune, and the reason we're looking at the Neptune is because a couple of you have actually asked me about this. Also, we've been doing tier 9 ships quite a bit recently, mainly tier 9 premiums, and I haven't been super excited about any of them, to be fair. This, on the other hand, used to be my absolutely favorite tier 9 cruiser in the game. I mean, I honestly haven't played all that many of them, but I didn't like the Edinburgh at tier 8 all that much, but I absolutely loved the Neptune at tier 9. The Neptune, as she stands here, never really existed. She was planned, of course, and this was a late war design by the British, where they said, oh, we're going to need a big cruiser with lots of guns on it, and we're going to make a lot of them. But the British kind of ran out of money towards the end of the war. Things didn't look so rosy, and everybody kind of said, okay, these are too expensive. We're not going to build those. And they had the plans out for the Neptune class of light cruisers and for a follow-on Minotaur class of light cruisers, which we're seeing in-game. But these never really materialized. The idea was to kind of make a better Belfast of sorts, which you can kind of see in the design as well. So there was actually an HMS Neptune in the Second World War, so don't be confused if you ever see one. That was a Leander class light cruiser, and she ran into mines in the Mediterranean and sank. But that wasn't this Neptune. There were a lot of ships called HMS Neptune. It's a very popular name for ships among the British by the looks of it. I mean, with Neptune being the god of the sea and all, that makes sense. So the Neptune, what is this thing like? She has a relatively decent amount of hit points, but she is a light cruiser. So if you give broadside against battleships, you will die. But that's true for all the British light cruisers. So this is something you should be used to at this point when you're going through the line. She's nicely maneuverable. She has pretty good acceleration, and the speed is very decent. The guns are great. And yes, these are British light cruiser guns, so the British 150mm armor-piercing only guns. But they have, well, first of all, you've got 12 of them, and you have a fire rate of 5.5 seconds, which is pretty blistering, to be honest. So these are great guns, and if you know where, even if you can aim at battleships' weak points, they will do an enormous amount of damage. If you can't, you will still rain down enough lead on battleships to make a dent into them. So these guns are great fun because of the very fast reload rate, and this is actually, I think this is actually incorrect here because they are listed down as the Mark 24 turrets. As far as I remember, the Neptune was supposed to get the Mark 25 turrets, which had a far faster rate of fire, but it could be that these eventually ended up in the Minotaur in game. Not 100% sure, because I thought the Mark 24s were pre-war designs and the Mark 25s were the more modern ones. But aside from a lot of very good guns, we also get a lot of very good torpedoes. And this is the one big difference towards the Edinburgh, which didn't get a lot of very good torpedoes. I mean, she got very good torpedoes, but not a lot of them. The Neptune gets 4 quad launchers, which means we've got 8 torpedoes per side. And they've got a 7.8 kilometer range, and you can fire them in single line. So you can, if you aim them correctly, you can get a lot of torpedoes on target. The AA on these British light cruisers is pretty good. It's not US cruiser level, but definitely not something to sneeze at. She's got a very good range with the large caliber AA. That is probably down to the 150 main guns being dual purpose. So they've got enough elevation that they can shoot at planes. And she also gets a relatively decent array of smaller guns. The actual Neptune was supposed to have, I think, 113mm secondaries that were also dual purpose. But not sure if that counts as large or small caliber here. But yeah, the range is good on the small caliber. The damage is good as well. Plus, you get the defensive AA skill, so it's all pretty good. The surface detection is excellent with just over 8 kilometers, and that goes down with consumables and everything and camos and whatnot. So tier 9 is always a bit tricky because, well, you get into tier 10 games. The Neptune, for me, is one of those ships that doesn't care. I mean, it's still nice if you're actually top tier, but even if you get into tier 10, because of the way the ship plays, you can absolutely make a difference in tier 10 with the sheer damage potential that these ships have. And these are not cruisers in your traditional sense. Yes, you can kite away, but I like to play them as oversized destroyers because the Neptune, just like all the other British light cruisers starting in a certain tier, are getting smoke screens. So we get 3 level 2 smoke generators, and that means it's a 32-second smoke, and that's before the Mistweaver skill kicks in. So you get an absolutely excellent smoke screen. Plus you get the air defense alert as well, which still gives you AA capabilities that are pretty good. Now, all in all, we have a relatively fast, maneuverable ship with a smoke screen and great guns, can defend itself against aircraft, and has enough torpedoes to make life very, very interesting for anybody who decides to chase after one of those things. What's not to like? Equipment-wise, I've got the main battery mod 3 for precision, because while these guns are nice and precise to start with, it's at range. If you need to shoot at things at range, it's always good to get more things down. You could go with main battery mod 1 for turret traverse, but in all fairness, I'm happy as it is. I have the double steering in here, just to make sure that you can turn, and her acceleration is good enough without the propulsion mod. So that's kind of my preferred setup for these ships here. Supplies wise, no surprise here. It's a standard setup. You could actually decide to forego, for example, the hit points for a bit better surface detection if you want to be a little bit sneakier. But it works one way or another. Captain builds for these kind of ships. I actually use the battlefield support for an extra AA, because if there's a carrier and I do get focused, I feel with the 7-minute games that you get in tier 9, I feel that you actually need 3 defensive AA skills to dissuade them from doing this. Standard cruiser for me, artillery maintenance. The air defense expert is good to have, because that means you can keep the skill up for the duration of a complete overflight. So you can start putting the skill up once your AA starts opening up, your large caliber AA starts opening up, and you've still got it active by the time the planes are making it out of the bubble again. So you are inflicting the maximum amount of casualties on enemy planes. Survivalist is not a bad skill to have in these things, because again, light cruisers, they do take damage very, very easily. I've got generalist and fully prepared, because again, nothing else did really make that much sense. The Mistweaver is an absolute must-have on these ships. The smoke generator skill duration obviously makes it a little bit longer that you can still sit in your smoke. So you really have a comfortable smoke to sit in and decide what you're going to do next. Do you want to disengage? Do you just want to fire? Just one thing to be aware of, starting with the Neptune. If you're sitting in a smoke and you decide to use your guns and just rain down fire on enemy ships, be aware that you're relatively easy to spot. Not that you can actually be seen, but somebody just has to look where all the shells are coming from and hurl some battleship AP into the general direction of that. So make sure you're not sitting broadside on in your smoke, firing all your guns at battleships. Always angle, move in your smoke, never sit still, because of the sheer amount of shells. And it's also advisable to use salvo fire and not continuous fire from smokes for the exact same reason, because it will make you just that little bit harder to blind fire. The demolition expert makes sense here. I'm actually using the honor seeker. You could have compartment maintenance as well if you wanted to, but if you manage to get a first kill, a first strike medal by just killing a destroyer early on, then this gives you just a little bit extra damage. And obviously, armor piercing cap shell would be nice, which gives you a little bit more damage. But these are 150 mils, so it's not a huge amount of difference. But still, it's always good to have. It gives you round about that, like 5 to 10% extra damage that you can get with the guns through the course of a battle with this skill. So, one of my really favorite Neptune. I've stuck a camo here, just basically does the same as the Seaborne Assault, just I had one laying around, but yeah. If you want to go with the historical camouflage, and I personally only do that for ships that I consider to play continuously, and I've got the Minotaur, but the Neptune is one of those tier 9 ships that I would actually have considered keeping. I haven't in my private account. I've actually sold her because I was out of money at the time and I wanted to get the Mino. But this would be a tier 9 ship that I would actually consider keeping because the Neptune is just such an excellent ship. You get better range, better torpedo range, better traverse speed, and better surface detection. All very, very good things. So that's something you could do. Anyway, let's get into a battle with the Neptune. We are top tier, and we're playing against Amagi, Richelieu, Baltimore, Seattle, Prince Eugen, Terrible, and Tashkent. Okay. So, in a normal cruiser, you would say, okay, support your battleships. The British light cruisers for me are more active hunters, so you wouldn't stick around with the battleships necessarily. You can do that, so if you want to go on AA duty early. But let's look at this example here. I've got a battleship with me. I'm heading towards Sea Cap. I'm not going to stick around with the battleship and try to shoot at destroyers at range. I'm going to head full steam into Sea Cap because there's an island in the center on Sea Cap. And I want to get behind that island. The reason that you can do this in a British light cruiser is because of the damage potential that you have. It's not an American light cruiser. If anything decides to come around the side of that island, you have 8 torpedoes ready to throw into their face if necessary. And you've got a smoke screen to disengage. So I am very much playing the ship like I would play a destroyer. I'm rushing ahead, I'm trying to get into an ambush position, and I'm keeping an eye on the cap counter to see what's going on. Okay, so something is in sea, and that has to be one of the destroyers. So I am just going to keep that island in between here, but I don't want to rush out right in front of the island right now. But I'm just going to stick around here a little bit and drop a bunch of torpedoes on one side and drop a bunch of torpedoes on the other side in case the destroyer decides he wants to come around. Then I get moving again, ready to disengage. Okay, I'm capping C now, which means that the destroyer has left. I don't know if he's seen me, or if he just decided that he didn't want to be here anymore, or he's seen the battleship and wanted to do something else. But okay, something is firing there. I'm not sure what they're shooting at. I'm suspecting the destroyer is here. Okay, my torpedoes actually hit something, so there's something else in the cap circle. Okay, there's an Amagi and a Prince Eugen. Okay, I'm broadsiding, so it's time to smoke up, put her in reverse, and just open up at the Prince Eugen from here. I still know that there's a destroyer here somewhere, so I'm keeping that in the back of my mind. But the Prince Eugen seems to be coming around the island on the other side. So my torpedoes here are reloading, so I'm just reversing a little bit, careful not to get out of my smoke, and wait for the Prince Eugen to come around the corner. There he comes. Okay, torpedoes away. That's 8 torps. That should probably be enough. Maybe. Might need a little bit more. So let's give a bit more fire up to the Prince Eugen. And there's the Tashkent. I knew there was a destroyer here somewhere. Okay, there come the torpedoes. Very nice. Okay, let's get one in his way and one in case he tries to disengage. There's no need to use the single spread against destroyers. Just get your torpedoes away and use your guns. Okay, where are you going? Okay, you're broadsiding. You're going that way. You think you dodged my torps? No, you didn't. And now you're dead. So his torps probably coming around, and that Prince Eugen is still alive. He seems to have stopped over there, trying to get some shots out at me. And this is a very dangerous ship. Plus, I've still got, I think it was an Amagi over there. But okay, excuse me, NC, could you please get out of the way? If you can't be useful and kill the Prince Eugen, then get out of my way. Okay. So it's time to, we've dealt with the destroyer. It's time to kill that Prince Eugen, get back into the cap circle, and then we've still got an Amagi somewhere running around back there. Okay, come on. probably wasn't enough. He's been moving forward. No, it was enough. Okay, my cup circle, because we're not holding any cups right now. And we need to, looks like we're doing, so far we've killed the only 2 ships in the game that have been killed. Okay, Amagi. Single spread torpedoes, and destroyer mode activate. Let's see how much attention that Amagi is paying, given that there's a North Carolina for him to shoot at. And that is actually actively shooting at him. I mean, he can see me, obviously, because I'm rushing him right now. But I'm just firing at the superstructure, and you can use the torpedo indicators to see where he's steering. Okay, he's turning in and he's shooting at me, so he's obviously noticed that I'm here. Unfortunately, he takes out my torp tubes. So it's my right torp, so I'm gonna turn left, unfortunately, that means. But we can do some damage to him in the meantime, then we can just use the smoke. Hope the smoke is actually operational. Nope, the smoke is bugged. Okay. Nope, smoke's operational. Okay, perfect. Hey, we actually citadel the Amagi. Now he can't see me, now he can, but now my torpedoes are hitting him, so that Amagi is very much dead. Alright, anybody else? We've cleaned up the Prinz Eugen, the Amagi, and the Tashkent. Sea Cup is ours. And it looks like the team is prevailing over on the other side as well. So now we're just heading back into the middle and see if we can help out there a little bit. Now, yes, okay, obviously I'm top tier, but still in an Edinburgh I couldn't have done this because I wouldn't have had enough torpedoes to deal with the Amagi reliably. I would have to use both sides of my torpedoes, which means I would have to make sure I get the first spread in and then turn around and get the second spread in using a smoke screen. Yes, you can do that, but in a Neptune, it's just so much more convenient. Okay, who's there? There is something sitting in B cup. It's a Richelieu. Okay. Yep. Yeah. I mean, good job. You're in the right kind of position. He's backing away, but now he's getting under fire from everyone. So there's an Iowa shooting at him, which is a tier 9. And now it's me shooting at him. Now, where is he going to fire? Most of my shells are bouncing, actually. I'm trying to hit the superstructure from here, because I can't really reliably hit the bow or stern section of this thing easily. Yeah, that's a bit better. But at this range, don't even bother about aiming too much. Yep, okay, he's shooting at me. Smoke up. And just slow down. And he's moving forward, so I'm just going to drop some torpedoes in his general path, even though my one of my launchers is still on cooldown. But, okay, I'm going to stop shooting now. I think the Iowa has been fighting him long enough that he can kill him if he manages. If my torpedoes get him, then, nope, the North Carolina actually gets him. Okay, well, sorry. I tried. It would have been your kill. There's still a Baltimore. We can still get some shots off, but that's the last ship alive in the battle. So we've very much done our job here, and the Baltimore is very dead, and we've won this one. So while I'm running out of battery, yes, the Neptune. If you're playing this at long range, I think you're wasting the potential of these ships. These are I play these aggressively. I play these like I would play destroyers, and get into positions. And these ships have an enormous potential to hold positions because they are very, very dangerous to rush for anyone who knows what they're doing because of the smoke and because of the torpedoes and because of the guns. If you're in a battleship, you can't rush one of these things because she's got enough torpedoes on the two sides to take out almost any battleship in the game. She has the rapid-firing 150s, which means any destroyer rushing this thing is playing an extremely dangerous game. And even against enemy cruisers, they can do enough damage that you really don't want to. You don't want to rush one of these things. So if you hold a position in a Neptune, and you have some hard cover against large caliber shells, because that's your weakness. Even 200 millimeter heavy cruiser shells can do a severe amount of damage against the Neptune. So if you find yourself being focused, disengage. Get behind an island, smoke up, get out of there. And play mobile, get into positions, and use the DPS of these ships to your advantage. Because they are absolute monstrous in terms of damage that they can deal. Play them like you would a very large destroyer. And honestly, that's what I'm doing in the Minotaur as well. So very, very good multi-purpose ships, can defend against aircraft, have smoke screens, Very, very versatile, these things. And the Neptune at tier 9 is one ship that I absolutely enjoy, even at higher tier battles, because you can also kill Shimakazes in this thing, which is a really good thing to do. Unless you're in a Shimakaze, obviously. Anyway, that's it for today. Thanks, everybody, and I'll see you next time. Bye.